What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. Today's positive motivational message is one that I am taking from a speech that was said in the wedding that I attended this past week, because it feels overly fitting for this week. And that is, life is measured in moments, not minutes. Rather than taking account of your life based on the literal amount of time you've been alive, rather than calculating it as how much time you spent on this or that, how much time you spent working, how much time you spent just doing the mundane things of life. Look at it of all the good memories and all the great moments that you've made with your family, with your friends, all the experiences that you have had, all the adventures you've been on, whether it was with people or with yourself, all the bucket list items that you've checked off, all those special big moments. And yes, they don't calculate in the amount of time that we walk this earth. They are very, sometimes, small portions of that time. But they mean more than all of it. Those moments, those memories, everything that you do is, when you look back on life, it won't be based on how old you are, how long you've been around. It's going to be based on the moments and the memories you've made. Those are the things you're going to remember looking back on life. And it's important to work toward making those moments. Do the things to enhance moments. Take the opportunities to make moments. And that will be a much more fulfilled life. And it was just very fitting this week, and I'll get into all of that and why it fits so perfectly. But first, we got to hit that intro music. It's episode 221 of Life's a Garden. Yeah, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Life's a Garden. If you haven't yet, please like, share, subscribe, follow on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Stitcher. We're freaking everywhere, man. Anywhere you can get podcasts, we are there. Do me a favor, please follow and subscribe on all platforms. It helps grow this garden, and it is very much appreciated. I do want to apologize to all of you for the late episode, for the day late release of this episode. It was a very busy week, a very busy weekend. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely had plenty of times and opportunities to have recorded the episode, so it would have come out on its regular time of Monday. Instead, we're here on Tuesday. It's coming out on Tuesday because whenever I had the time, it was either I was massively hungover, tired, just straight up didn't want to do it. There was football games going on. There was lots of stuff. There's a slew of excuses. So I'm here doing it now. We're getting one out. And in addition to that, it gives me the opportunity to talk about all the fun, crazy stuff that happened over this weekend. Before we get to that, though, I want to take you back to last weekend when I went to Portland. I went to Portland for a wedding for my friend Ben Lopez and his now wife, Victoria Lopez. Huge congratulations to those guys. Beautiful wedding. Absolutely just stunning. It was outside of Portland a ways. it was great. They had these shuttle buses that picked us up from our hotel. They had 2 hotels that they recommended people stay at that had transportation. Just these little tour bus kind of things that would, like kind of like a Sprinter van, a little bit bigger than a Sprinter van, that they would pick up from those locations. And you didn't have to be staying at those hotels. You could just show up and they would take you to the event, to the venue. And it was a decent ways out of Portland, and then up in the mountains. We were going up these switchbacks. It was a narrow road. It was a little sketchy, to be honest, in that big van. And the van kept making like this weird, like, it sounded like the axle was about to snap in half. Fortunately, we were able to make it up there. There's like this, I'm going to call it a pond. I mean, they call it like Lake something is the name of the venue. It's definitely a pond. It's not a lake. But it's still a sizable body of water surrounded by Oregon trees and pine and all that stuff. Like, just so green. Perfect weather. It got a little bit chillier during the evening, but still. Just so cool. The wedding was on the other side of the lake. There was like a set up for food and bathrooms and all that stuff on one side of the lake. The wedding was on the other side of the lake. We're all set up. We're sitting there. They're on the lake. We are facing toward the lake. Everyone comes down, does their walkthroughs and all that, like the bridesmaids and the groomsmen and all that. And my friend Pow, was officiating the wedding. Did a great job. And after everybody's walked down, we're waiting for the bride, and he says, if everybody would please rise and turn your attention across the lake. And there they are. It's her brother Theo, who's a good friend of mine, and another friend, one of Ben's brothers, actually, they were rowing her in a boat across the lake to the ceremony. It was so cool. Never seen anything like that before. It was a pretty quick ceremony, which I love. They had all this great music, like Lord of the Rings score music and stuff like that. As we're walking back, as the ceremony's over, we're walking back to the reception area. They have pictures of themselves on the trees on the trail as you're walking back. Just super clever. They're all taking their pictures while we're going back. They had like a pizza truck, so that was the food. It was just like pizza by the slice, and there wasn't like it was very not as formal as some. It was very like loosey-goosey, and I liked that. I thought that was just chill. They had fucking cheesecake for the cake, which was delicious. It was just an overall amazing wedding. I loved the chill vibe of it. It didn't feel like overly. The ceremony itself was a little, that was like the more, what's the word I'm looking for? Choreographed. It was very like well put together and very professional and traditional kind of, where the reception and all that was very chill, loosey-goosey. They even had a moment where they were in the boat together, just the two of them sharing some champagne, which I thought was great because it gave them an opportunity to have like that one-on-one moment after the wedding, so it's not just like chaos. Yeah, and that just fits their personality so perfectly, is that it's just a chill, everything was just relaxed and just carefree. And that describes them perfectly. So the wedding was beautiful. Didn't really do a whole lot of adventuring outside of the wedding. We hung out. There's this place called McMenamin's. That was one of the hotels that people were staying at. Never been to one of those before. I guess they're pretty popular in the Oregon area. It's kind of like it's like a cottage in the woods type of vibe, where it's a main hotel. There was like a botanical garden. There's a bunch of different restaurants like in the area, different bars, and they're all very like wood cottage feeling. Very cool place. There's like little nature walks. They had like a area for outdoor concerts. It was just a really cool venue. One of the bars we went to actually like really reminded me of old school Ireland. The way that some of the pubs were in Ireland, that was super cool. And that was very nostalgic. Or it brought back those memories of Ireland to me. So that was kind of a fun place to hang out at. Got to hang out with some friends I hadn't seen in a long time. That was cool. Sunday, the day before the wedding was on a Monday. Went down to this bar called Alex's Bar. Shout out to Alex's Bar. Great food. Great setup to watch the football game. How about those Broncos, folks? Here I was just a few weeks ago, moping around thinking, here we go again. It's another same old year. We're on a 3-game winning streak now. Let's go back to the Broncos Jets game real quick. I understand. It was a sloppy win. It didn't look great at all. Bo Nix only threw for like 60 yards and a touchdown. Did not get sacked once, I will say that. Our defense 100% has been carrying us through the season. Sacked Aaron Rodgers, I think, 5 times. Had a turnover. I think both teams had a fumble that was recovered. The weather was a huge factor in that, okay? And I'm not trying to make excuses. What am I trying to excuse? We won the game. I'm just telling you the facts. Like, that's why the Broncos had a hard time moving the ball. That's why the Jets had a hard time moving the ball. That field is notoriously very bad. And then you add heavy rain and wind, I'm assuming, and it was probably pretty cold. All those factors, yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough day to play some ball. And you could see where in the second half it started kind of letting up, and they were starting to rip the ball a little more. They were getting a little bit better at ball handling and things like that. I'd rather be on the winning side of an ugly game than the losing side of an ugly game. I'll tell you that right now. You don't want to watch an ugly game for 60 minutes and then come out on the losing side. Obviously, it's 60 minutes of ball time, but whatever. So yeah, I'd rather be the Broncos than the Jets in that scenario. It was funny. We lined up for that field goal at the end, and I had a gut feeling we were going to miss it just because of the conditions, the weather. I wasn't a fan of that decision to go for a field goal there. And then they line up for their own, like that gave them perfect opportunity for the Jets to go down and kick a field goal of their own. And they were in field goal range. It was about a 50-yard field goal. And immediately Powell is like, that's it. We're going to fucking lose this game. We did all this work. Their defense did all this work to keep them down, and we're still going to blow this game. I hate that I root for this team. Why do they do this to me every year? And I just go, dude, hang on. It ain't over yet. Relax. We just missed a field goal. They can miss a field goal too. It's very possible. He's like, no, it's done. It's done. We're cooked. And they kicked it wide right, misses the field goal. And I just look at him and go, that's why you gotta keep believing. That's why you gotta believe. And he's just like, oh my God. And we had a great time. We celebrated. It was fun. And then that night was when we went to the McMenamin's place and hung out. So just an overall good day or a good weekend. It was chill, relaxing. I went and I got to hot tub a little bit, kind of just relax. When I wasn't hanging out with people, I was just at the hotel just chilling, honestly. I didn't really explore a whole lot. I was there for one thing, and that was for the wedding. So it was a good time. Once again, no bad things to say about Portland. I never experienced anything bad. It was no worse than any other big city I've ever been to. You know, I still didn't go to downtown Portland, so I couldn't give you any reports on that. But hey, I enjoyed myself. It was a nice time. So I want to. Every time I go on a trip, I end up talking about airplanes, mostly because I hate them. I really do. But one thing I don't think I've ever really brought up is airplane hacks. Okay. here's a couple a couple little like tricks for you, okay? When you're booking, now I don't know if you're a window seat person or a aisle seat person, okay? I don't know what your vibe is on that. I prefer the aisle. I am definitely an aisle seat guy because here's the deal. I don't mind the window seat. I just don't like sitting next to somebody where I'm like, there's the wall, there's the window, and then there's the person. If I'm going to be sitting next to somebody, if I'm forced to sit next to somebody, I want to have that aisle there, so it just makes it feel less claustrophobic. And if I got to get up, I don't mind getting up and like letting somebody go past me. That doesn't bother me. I hate being the person that's asking somebody to get up so that I can go by. So if I have to go to the bathroom, I can freely go. If I need to ask the stewardess something, or if the stewardess is trying to hand me something, I'm not reaching over somebody. The aisle seat is definitely preferable. Now, here's the trick. Here's your little hack, okay, that I've found. And it doesn't really matter as long as it's like a medium flight, or if it's like, you know, not a heavily, fully booked flight. Get the aisle seat. If it's a 2x2, if there's, you know, 2 seats and 2 seats, always get the aisle seat. Because the odds, if you're flying by yourself, the odds of somebody wanting to sit in that window seat right next to you, that's going to be their last option. I feel like somebody's more likely to sit in the aisle seat next to you than the window seat next to you. And then if they don't, if that seat is vacant, you have the whole thing to yourself. Because I had to fly into Denver. So I went from here to Denver to Portland, and then the same route back. If on 3 out of those 4 flights, nobody was sitting next to me. And on the flight to Portland, chillest flight I've ever had. It was a newer plane. It had the TVs in the seats. I had 3 full seats to myself. Nobody in front of me, nobody behind me. There was a couple that was sitting just across the aisle from me, and then there was nobody around any of us. And I was sitting there. We were kind of chatting a little bit because we were just talking about like the Bluetooth headphones and whatnot. Sat there and watched School of Rock the whole time. Like from the flight, pretty much the whole duration of the flight, I watched the entirety of School of Rock, which was awesome because I've been kind of wanting to watch that movie lately. That was great. One thing I do want to say. It is alarming the type of shows and movies that you can watch on a plane. They had like House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones available on there. There's like a slew of horror movies. So like at anybody's discretion, they could be watching Game of Thrones, tits are going to be out. What if there's like children next to you? Or what if you're just watching it and there's some person next to you? How uncomfortable would that be? You're watching like, yeah, Game of Thrones, there's always like tits and shit. Or horror movies where there's like a bunch of blood and it's like very like violent. That's pretty alarming. You'd think it would be kind of dialed back a little bit. But, you know, whatever. I just thought it was kind of weird that there's those options on a plane. On a TV on a plane. So anyway, that's one hack. Here's your other one. If it's 2x2, if it's 3, obviously if it's 2x2 and you're going with somebody, you're going to be sitting next to each other. So, but if it's 3x3, I say, I mean, you could say take the middle or take the window seat and the aisle seat, because the chances of somebody wanting to sit in the middle are pretty slim, and they probably are. That would be the hack, actually. Don't get the middle and the side, because if somebody wants to sit on the window seat, the only problem is if somebody does choose to sit in the middle, now you have that weird thing where you have to be like, do you mind sitting on the window seat or the aisle seat so that me and my buddy can sit next to each other? That one's a little bit more tricky. I'd rather just guarantee that we were sitting next to each other. The best thing you could do is just both sit on the aisle, because then you can still talk, and you don't have to worry about being stuck in the window or middle seat. either way, I think it worked out for me because nobody sat next to me in the way that I did my seating arrangements. It was nice. One thing I will continue to say is I'm always a little shocked whenever I'm at an airport or in an airplane. Just how unbelievably disgusting people are. Like, have you ever seen a person? Like, have you ever just, like, looked at a person and just been like, oh my God, like, you exist? Like, this is a type of person that's living among us? Usually what I think is, I just end up thinking, like, thank God. Like, I don't think, oh my God, as much as I think, thank God that I was blessed with decent genetics and that I don't look like so many people. Like, there are just some horrendous people in this world. And I feel for all of them. But it's like, wow. That really gets amplified when you're stuck on a tube with a bunch of people, and when you're just walking around an airport where there's people from all over the world gathered at that one spot. Because you can just see all walks of life from every corner of the globe. You're just like, Jesus. People are ugly everywhere. People are just... And just the worst. Just the worst type. Just, no manners. No sense of surrounding. It's unbelievable. So, that was one thing that actually came into my head while I was on the plane. Going back to our positive motivational message this week. Moments. First of all, the wedding itself, great memory, great moment, especially for them. And, I had a great time. Those were great memories that I will keep and cherish forever. I come back, okay? I come back from this wedding. I flew back on Tuesday. Wednesday was a rest day. Well, actually, I did go out for trivia on Wednesday. Still just like a relaxing day. And then Thursday, I'm going downtown to watch the football game. It was the Falcons and the Buccaneers. And I get downtown, I get a phone call from Aaron, my cousin Aaron, and he says, hey dude, I completely spaced it out. Judas Priest is playing tonight. And in that moment, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that too. And then, you start thinking about, do I want to go to the show or do I want to, do the thing that I came down here to do? Do I want to spend the money and go to the concert, or do I want to just hang out downtown, watch the football game, have some food, and just have a chill night? And I just left it to Aaron. I was like, hey, man, if you want to go, I'm down to go with you. Let me know what you want to do, and we'll do it. He calls me back a little while later, and he's like, man, I just don't know if I can afford it. I might come hang out with you later on tonight, but I think we might just call it on going to the show. And I was like, that's fine by me. I'm okay with that. He comes down. He's watching the game with me. We're hanging out. Sure as shit, dude gets a phone call from our buddy Charles from Fake News, who calls and says, hey, dude, I got 3 free tickets to Judas Priest tonight. You down? He looks at me and goes, we're going to Judas Priest. And I'm like, who am I? Who am I to turn down free tickets to see a legendary band? And that's what I mean about, my head space was that I was wanting to do the thing that I wanted to do that night. I already had it preset in my head what I was planning on doing, and that was to watch football. I even basically denied going to that show already. I basically was like, yeah, I don't really want to go. But when opportunity presents itself in such a way, I could have easily been like, no, you can go with somebody else. Like, I still just don't want to go to the show. And I could have just said no to going. And they could, Aaron and Charles and somebody else could have gone and taken those free tickets. But it wasn't about the free aspect of it. I mean, that definitely was part of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say it was not completely anything about it. But when opportunity presents itself like that, you have to jump on it. You have to just take it and run with it. Because then you're allowing moments to be created. I've never seen Judas Priest before. It wasn't necessarily about even going to the show. It was about going to the show with Aaron and with Charles and with friends. Saw a ton of people there that we knew. That was awesome. Like I said, I've never seen Judas Priest before. I'm not like a huge Judas Priest fan, but it's like, I don't hate them. I know a couple songs. First of all, the opening band, Sabaton from Sweden, I think is where they said they're from, fucking killed it. Like, fantastic. Good on them. They put on a great show. They are great performers. Shout outs all around. Then Judas Priest comes out, and oh my god, Rob Halford sounds as good as he ever has. The dude is like 75, and he still belts it out like he's 25. The guy has not skipped a beat. He sounds just as good as ever. Obviously, not as energetic on the stage, but they still put on a good show. They still performed well. I mean, because you understand they're older guys, or at least he is. I know a couple of the other members are fairly older. I think there's still some original members in there. There's a couple of younger guys too. But you're like, you're listening to this guy, and I'm just like, this is one of the legends in metal, one of the all-time legendary vocalists in all of metal, which was just an honor to see him and hear him and experience that. Also, might I add, like, first of all, I'll never sound that good as long as I live, because that's not a learned talent, that is a God-given talent, to be able to sing like that. I could practice forever and ever, and I'd never sound as good as Rob Halford. Or as clean. Like, that guy is just fantastic. And at that age, to still be doing that. Plus, he's like, and the thing that like blew my mind is he's up there wearing like all leathers, like jackets. He's got leather gloves on. I'm like, dude, I would be dying if I wore anything like that. I'm usually wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and I still sweat my ass off on stage. So, and also, a bald, bearded legend. I could only ever pray to be half as known as Rob Halford is. But I got the look. Hey, if I can hang on till I'm 70 something, still rocking and rolling doing music, I got the look for it. Cause Rob Halford and I, besides the gray and the white of the beard, we got the same look, brother. Way better show than I would have expected. You know, like, I'm not that I didn't expect him to not have a good show. I just don't, like I said, I don't know a ton of Judas Priest. Not really like just this huge Priest fan. But it's still a great show. Even if it's a band you don't really care about or you don't really like as much, it's still worth going because they can still put on a good show. And you can still enjoy it for what it is, which I did. And again, getting to see a legend still just destroying. I mean, that makes me wonder, what the fuck is Vince Neil's excuse? Vince Neil sounds like dog shit. And he's not even, like, he might be 60? And then you got Rob Halford out here, 75 years old, just destroying. Look at, like, Phil Anselmo from Pantera. He used to be able to hit those high notes. He can barely sing Cowboys from Hell anymore. All he's got is that like low guttural, like respect, walk. He can't do any of that high shit no more. He's completely fucked his voice up. I'm pretty sure Bruce Dickinson still can crush at his old age, similar to Rob Halford. So it's all about just how well you take care of yourself and how just not destroying your voice, I guess. Because you put Vince Neil and Rob Halford next to each other. And you're like, what the hell? One of these guys is doing it right. And then on Friday, the next day after that show, me and Aaron went to Craft Local to see our good friends in Hemlock, as well as Mobsquito and Pressure Knot, who were the opening acts. Hemlock from Las Vegas, Nevada. We played with Hemlock a couple years back. I think it was 2021, I believe. Yeah, we played with them for a Halloween show. That was really fun. We had a good time with that. Aaron's played a couple shows with them before when Aaron lived down in Nevada. So Aaron knows Chad from Hemlock. Super cool guys. Got to hang out with them for a little bit before and after the show. They crushed it. Dude, my neck and my knees and my lower back still are sore from that show because we were jamming. Shout out to Mobsquito and Pressure Knot. They always kill it. They're always two of our favorite bands to play with. All really great guys in those bands. Good friends of ours here in the music scene. So always great to play with those, or just to see those guys. And granted, it would have been really cool for us to get to play that show. But I'm extremely happy for those guys to have gotten the opportunity to do it as well. Like, I'm not taking anything away from it, and I'm not going to have sour grapes about not getting to play that show. It was just fun to be there. And honestly, it's kind of fun to go to a local show like that and get to see your friends in the other bands and not have the stress of waiting to play. Or, you know what I mean? Like, not stressing out about anything. You're just kind of there and getting to experience it. That was nice. We did gift Hemlock a lot of Cutthroat merch, to which they have been sporting on their Facebook pages a lot. They gave us shout-outs on stage, and we didn't even play. Granted, they did give some other bands that weren't playing that night some shout-outs too, which I respected, and I thought that was great that they did that. But because we showed up to support, they threw us a little shout-out. So yeah, we tossed them some merch. They've been rocking it on the tour now. Hopefully rocking it at other shows and spreading the word. We gave them a shit ton of stickers to hand out along the road. So that was really cool of them to even offer to do that at all. So we had fun with that. That night, dude, I need to just chill when I go to Craft Local because those craft beers just absolutely fuck me up. They go down as basically as smooth as a Coors Light for me, but they are way more potent. I had a nice buzz going after that show. Of course, we ended up going to the Rainbow, where we did a couple shots, and for the second time in a row, from going from a craft show to the Rainbow, because the last time we did that was after our show, we go and do some shots. Bartender hands me, he made us some shots. They were called Dead Nazis. I don't know if you've ever heard of a Dead Nazi shot. That is Rumpelmints mixed with Jägermeister. I don't fuck with either of those, and you're going to put them in a shot together. Aaron and him slammed them down, and I'm like, buddy, all right, here we go. Here goes nothing. 1, 2, 3, take the shot. Ran to the bathroom, fucking threw it up. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end for that night for me. Yeah. So that was a rough morning, hence why I didn't do the podcast. I had plenty of time on Saturday to do it, and that was the original plan. But I slept till noon and just lounged around until I went out for the UFC fights that night. Great fights. I mean, they were all right. You know, the main event was great. Shout out to Khalil Roundtree. Just an absolute dog. Great performance. You know, he stuck it in there. He won the first 2 rounds for sure. He actually had Alex stumbled a couple times. But Alex's game plan just came in. He outworked him. He just tired him out. Khalil got really tired toward the end of the third round. He was starting to get tagged up a little bit. And then when the fourth round came, it was pretty much done. Alex walked him down and just picked him apart at that point. But a very gutsy performance by Khalil Roundtree to step in. I thought it was a little early of a title chance for him to get to come in and fight, but I don't think anybody else was available. And so, for being a lower-ranked fighter to come up and fight the champion, he gave him his best fight yet in a championship fight, besides Israel Adesanya. Other than that, though, he gave him the best performance that he's had. So, shout out to Khalil Roundtree. Shout out to Alex Pereira, one of my favorite fighters. Got it done. Pissed about Juliana Pena winning because I absolutely hate her. I think she's one of the most unlikable fighters in the UFC. I hope Kayla Harrison absolutely obliterates her when they have their title fight next, whenever that might be. God knows Pena will just hold out forever. Here's a bummer for you. Lost a 4-leg parlay, had 3 out of the 4 right, and the one that I didn't get was a controversial split decision that everybody thought Jose Aldo won, including myself, of course. Dana White said he thought Aldo won. I thought based on all the stats, Mario Bautista tried to take him down 10 times, was successful 0 out of 10. Basically just held him against the cage, did nothing with that, and somehow ends up with the victory. And that fucked my parlay up. I had the potential to win $100 that night, and nothing. Nada. Zilch. And then, was it after the fights or was it? No. It was yesterday after the football games, after the Broncos whipped the Raiders' ass, just absolutely beat the shit out of the Raiders. Patrick Surtain, 100-yard pick 6. Riley Moss with a pick. Defense again shows up and shows out. Got Gardner Minshew benched. Aiden O'Connell comes in, does no better. Now, the offense took a little bit to get going, but it looked better. It looked much better than it has. Bo got 2 touchdowns passing. First time he's done that. You can start to see the rhythm. They're starting to get it all figured out. I'm enjoying it. We're a 3-game winning streak. We just beat the Raiders, a divisional rival. We are second in the division right now. We got the Chargers next week. An even bigger chance to spread the gap there between us and the other teams. Loving that. We're just going week to week. I'm not calling for no playoffs or nothing just yet. Week to week, I'm enjoying where we're at right now. I can't complain. I'm a happy camper. Chargers are going to be tough. But after the game, so I went the entire month of September, okay? I went the entire month of September without gambling. I did a couple sports bets, but I didn't play any machines. That was like a goal I had set because it was getting a little out of hand. I think I talked about this already. It was getting a little out of hand. I was doing it too often, and I wasn't winning anything, so it was completely pointless. So I took the whole month of September from gambling. I stuck to that. I even went a little bit into October. And finally, on Sunday night, I made the decision to finally throw in a little bit of money on the machines. I actually played the poker table as well. I got talked into hopping on the poker table. Well, first of all... Oh, God damn it. Hang on. Sorry about that. I hate when that happens. First of all, what the hell was it? Oh, that sports bet. I lost the fight bet, right? Then I went on to lose some football bets. One of them was a long shot. I didn't expect to actually win that one. The other one, I needed 3 players to combine for 4 touchdowns. It doesn't matter who scores what. One guy could score all 4 touchdowns and I'd still win the bet. But I just there was 3 different players that needed to combine for 4 touchdowns. I got 3 touchdowns out of those guys. Multiple opportunities for them to get the 4th one, and it just never happened. So I was pissed about that. Bad beat on that one. And then go and play some poker. Not a single hand. Won nothing. Went to the machine. No bonuses. Barely any hits on anything. Just completely ate my money like immediately. So, if the gambling gods wanted me to come back at all, they completely failed in their attempts to try and lure me back in, because I'm going to go a whole nother month. That was so infuriating on those machines and the poker table that I'm like, poker, I might pop in on a poker table every now and again, but it's not going to be nearly as frequent as it once was. And I'm taking the month of October off the machines too. Like, fuck them. I don't need to. That's bullshit. Like, I'm not playing that game. I'll still continue to do some sports bets here and there just because they're a little fun. But I'm not gonna. I still haven't gotten that crazy on the sports bets this year. So that's about it. Like, gambling, fuck it, dude. Those machines are a rip. Like I said, if they wanted to tantalize, if the gambling gods wanted to tantalize me and try and lure me back in, they failed miserably. Because that was enough to make me want to kick a fat kid at Kmart. Speaking of gambling, we got to shout out a RIP to the late Pete Rose. Pete Rose passed away, notoriously gambled on baseball while he was a manager for the Reds, which got him a lifetime suspension or lifetime ban from the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame, which is an atrocity because he is the leader in hits of all time. He has the all-time hit leader in baseball, in all of baseball, and it's not even close. I think there's only one other guy that's ever gotten over 1,400 or 14,000 hits or something like that. Is there it had to have been 14,000, right? 1,400, 14,000, I don't remember. But it's a lot. And it's unfortunate that he never got to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He very much should be, I believe. Especially now that, like, sports betting is such a huge thing. And, like, I get what he did was wrong. But he paid the price. And now you got MLB that's sponsored by DraftKings and sponsored by, MGM and all this shit. They should let him in. And then, it doesn't matter anyway. Like, they could let him in, and that's great. That's legacy for him. It just sucks that he'll never know or never have gotten to see that happened. So, RIP to Pete Rose. We had a lot of deaths, actually, this past week. Dikembe Mutombo passed away. Basketball legend, played for the Denver Nuggets at one point in his career. So RIP to him. Chris Christopherson passed away. I can't remember her name. Is it Julianne something? The lady that played Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter, she passed away. So quite a few celebrity deaths, just like boom, boom, boom. And so just wanted to put those ones out there. Pete Rose, though, I mean, it's just a tragedy that the whole Hall of Fame situation. And it sounds like they might be actually considering to put him in because he technically served his lifetime ban because he's dead. But that's so shitty. So many people wanted to see him go in, and I'm sure he wanted to see that happen too. Like, it just sucks. So, hopefully justice is served and he will get to be put into the Hall of Fame. What else? Oh, the Longshoremen strike is an interesting thing to keep an eye on right now. So, the Longshoremen Union, who is responsible for the imports and exports of everything on the eastern seaboard, from Maine all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Everything that goes through our ports whether it's leaving the United States or coming to the United States. They are striking. They're not going to work. I want to say that Biden put like an executive thing that makes them where they have to work for like 90 more days before because their contracts came up, basically is what it was. And their contracts were not renewed for whatever their union contracts were. And they're wanting to renegotiate their contracts. Those negotiations never came through. Obviously, they're looking to get more money. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, with the time with inflation on all this shit. Plus, you know, they were essential workers during COVID. You've proven that these people are very important. And they're here to show you, hey, if we stop doing this, you're going to realize how important we really are. And you're going to pay us the money that we're asking for. I understand it completely. It sucks because, you know, the price of goods are going to go up. Medicine, building materials. Like, it's going to car manufacturers that bring their, you know, like my business, Toyota. You know, that's going to put a hit on us for cars that are coming in from Japan or parts. Because a lot of our cars get built within the United States, but you still got to get those parts in. And everything still comes over on a ship. So it's like, that's pretty fucking, you know, they better get this shit figured out. Like, whoever's on the other side of these contracts, whoever's making these deals, needs to get their shit together and just ink that deal and get this thing done. Brilliant. I mean, it's they're saying it's like a political tactic because of whatever. I mean, the contracts just happen to expire during an election year. Like, that's just how it was. Now, granted, that's a huge advantage for these guys in getting their contracts what they want them to be, because if all the imports and exports stall out and it's fucking up the economy, that's going to look worse on the current sitting president and that side's party, which happens to be Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's campaign. Well, it'll be Kamala Harris's campaign, obviously, but still, that reflects on their office. And Trump could easily come out and say, hey, if I was president, I would make sure that these contracts were taken care of. Now, I know it's not like an executive, it's not between the union and the president. It's between the union and like whoever they do their contracts with and all this. Whatever the corporations are. But Trump could easily say, I would be having conversations with these businessmen and with these corporations to make sure that these deals get done. He could say that, and then if Biden and Kamala Harris don't get this done quickly, it's going to reflect poorly on them. And I don't know if any of you heard the leader of the Longshoremen, their president, what he had to say, but this dude is a character. I mean, I'm going to look it up. And I'm going to do it on my phone because I don't feel like editing on the computer, so I'm not going to do all that shit. Shoreman. President. Is Davo is his name? Is this the clip?
But watch.
No, I don't want that. I want... This guy is like straight out of a... like.
Well, now to that strike threat that could impact busy ports up and down the East Coast. Today, New York's Romney Smith's in Newark, now one of the locations that could see picket lines.
God, okay, fuck off. Just give me the thing.
But watch how he speaks, like a loving, caring,
wholesome.
I just want you to watch this guy. Go ahead.
Cripple you, and you have no idea
I will cripple you.
what that means. When my men hit the streets,
For me.
Okay. I know how to look this up. I will cripple you. That's what he says. Can't you just give me the fucking thing that he said? They gotta give me, it's always gotta be like a news report. Like, you can't just give me the thing that he said. God, that's so fucking frustrating. All right, I'm going back to this one because I have a picture of him. Annoying. Shut up. God, this is pissing me off. Can't just find the fucking clip. And then, of course, the other one I have is it's fucking Patrick Bet David. But anyway, okay. Fine, we're going to listen to this again.
Like a loving, caring, wholesome. I just want you to watch this guy. Go ahead.
Cripple you. And you have no idea
I will cripple you.
what that means. When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port, a lockdown. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. I will cripple you.
By the way, he's not lying.
I mean, that's gangster. That's some big dick energy right there. You know what I mean? Call him the Schlong Shoreman. I mean, that's some big dick energy, and that's like he's like a character straight out of The Sopranos, dude. That's some gangster shit to talk about. Like this is exactly how this is gonna go down if you don't fucking make these. If you don't get these contracts signed, if you don't get us what we're asking for. I mean, damn, dude. I dig it. I dig a working man giving a middle finger to the corporations, being like, "We'll shut this whole fucker down, and unless you meet our demands, you're fucked. Like, you're fucked. You can't get anybody else to just go in there and do those jobs, because I'm sure you have to have like licenses and shit like that for. Plus, it's a union." So I get it, and I'm down for it. I'm here for it. It sucks the repercussions that would have to come of that, but don't blame them. Blame corporate America. They're putting a big middle finger to corporate America saying, these are the demands that we're asking for. Meet them or fucking fail. Or completely fucking fail. And I love that. Sail around the world going port to port. Every time I come, I produce a quart. The Schlong Shoreman, man. Those big schlongs coming from port to port. I mean, I'm loving the energy. I can't say enough about it. Like, good on them. Get your shit, get your money, and hopefully it happens sooner than later. And then on top of that, we got all these hurricanes. 2 fucking hurricanes came sweeping through the Florida, Carolina area. First it was Helene. That just, I guess it wasn't as bad as projected. There was still damage. People did lose their lives, and wasn't good by any standards. Now you got this other one coming up. Is it Milton? Is that what it's called? Tropical storm Milton, and it's projected to turn into a Category 4 or 5 hurricane and cut straight through Florida, right into Tampa. And there's evacuation notices. The Longshoremen thing that's going to affect all that stuff. Building materials for these houses, medical supplies, things like that. A lot of that gets affected with these hurricanes and all that shit. And in addition, there was this. I mean, it came out that FEMA, their funding, FEMA's funding is very, very limited at this point because Joe Biden sent a bunch of FEMA money for illegal immigrants, to house illegal immigrants, to feed illegal immigrants, all this stuff. They used FEMA funds for that. And now we're having a natural disaster tragedy in Florida, and there's no money for FEMA. I mean, obviously that money's going to come, like, they're going to get them help. I imagine they're going to allocate money somehow, but where's that coming from? They're just a fucking debt machine, dude. They're just a rolling debt machine. And that doesn't look good either. It's crazy that there's always, like, it seems so often during a presidential election, there's like a massive hurricane that rolls through. I remember during Obama's, it was it Ida or something like that? The one that went up to, in New York. I mean, you got Hurricane Katrina. That was also during, like, Bush, Obama, wasn't it? That was like 2008. Am I correct in that? Yeah, pretty sure. You know, and the way you respond to these things is huge. You know, you never know what you can believe when you see. I know for a fact Trump was down there with his own cash, trying to help out as much as he could. And then Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they weren't down there for 2 or 3 days. Trump was down there immediately. And now you're hearing about these FEMA funds and all that stuff. I mean, it's all this stuff piling up is not going to look good for the Harris campaign. I'll tell you that. This dispute about wages with the Longshoremen, like, they need to be talking to whoever needs to be getting these contracts done and being like, hey, what the fuck? Like, get this done now. This is crucial, kind of a thing, you know? Because it's going to fuck their campaign up. And then, you know, like I said, it could bode very well for Trump, because Trump could easily say, if I was in office right now, the second I get in office, I'm making sure that contract is done. It's going to be a done deal. I will make them sign those contracts. Shit, it better not last that long. We'll be fucked. And then, then you add the hurricanes and all that stuff, the response to the hurricanes. That could add very poorly. I mean, we're less than a month away from Election Day. And all this stuff is just piling on right now. We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see how it goes. That's pretty much all I got for you guys this week. Other than, I guess, I could point out that the new Joker movie is absolutely bombing right now at the box office, which, hey, guess what? Called it. Not surprised at all. The second they announced that it was a musical, I was like, well, I'm out. I'm not interested. The first movie was great. And you can't, like, capitalize on the success of that and just make a second movie. No, you gotta go above and beyond and try to do something different and creative and artsy and make it a fucking musical. Like, what? I was not stoked about Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn either. The Rotten Tomato score, and you can't always judge the Rotten Tomato score, right? The critic score and then the audience score. Usually the audience score is more accurate. Both of them. In fact, I'm almost certain, if I remember right, I think the audience score is worse than the critic score. When both are bad, that's a bad movie. And it's unfortunate because it's a great, you know, there was so much potential. And I love the character of the Joker, and I love Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. The first movie was phenomenal. But I'm not going to a Joker movie and hoping to see Little Orphan Annie. I'm not trying to see The Sound of Music. I'm not here to watch Les Miserables. I'm here to watch the Joker. You're going to turn the Joker into a musical? Like, none of that, nothing about that makes me remotely interested. So it is no surprise whatsoever that it's bombing at the box office. Somebody showed me that today and I was like, yeah, duh. No surprise there. Called that. So that sucks anyway that's happening, but whatever, regardless. That's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you listening. Go Broncos, baby. The Broncos are looking good. I'm loving that. Make sure to make plenty of memories. Take the opportunities that are given to you to make memories. Go out and and actively create memories with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends, because life is measured in moments, not minutes. And it also is a garden. So dig it.
You've got